I tend to get a lot of people ask me, Nicole, how do you stay so positive when everything seems like it's stacked against you? When everything's going wrong and just everything is all over the place. How do you stay positive? First of all, I'm not always positive. I am human. Sometimes my emotions get the best of me when things get rough, but the frequency of letting my emotions control me, that's getting less and less. That used to be a huge problem for me before, and I've learned how to remain positive. So I'm really hoping to help you guys. I'm still a work in progress, but I've learned a few things along the way. The first one is whatever you do not let the negative emotions take center stage. What do I mean by that? Sometimes when things happen and we're standing in the middle of a really tough time, and I'm not talking about life events like big life events like sickness and loss. Those require a totally different level of dealing with that. But I'm referring to those things that come up when you fail, like when things aren't working out the way you want them to, when a deal falls through, when your business partner proves to be untrustworthy, when the bills are due and your bank account's at zero. We have the tendency to get in a funk and seriously stay there to the point where it really, really affects the things that we do and our motivation. To wallow in self-pity and tell ourselves that things will never work out, or that we should have never tried, or that we're not good enough, those are thoughts that tend to come up and stay with you and really have an impact. But do not let those emotions rule. Recognize that they're only emotions. Now, I'm not saying don't feel those. Let yourself feel those emotions, because stuffing them down will only create problems in the future. Recognize that you have every right to feel that way. That is self-validation. Whenever you feel some type of way, whether that's happy, whether that's sad, whether that's angry, and you say, okay, in this situation, I have every right to feel that way. You need to validate yourself, and that's very important. Stuffing down those emotions will only create problems. But after you feel what you need to feel to deal with that situation, you need to rise back up. Do not let the emotions take center stage and start making decisions for you. As we've all heard before, most of the time, emotional decisions are not the right decisions, whether those are positive or whether they're negative. When you stay in a state of negative emotions, we call that stinking thinking, you can't progress. If you're in a tough spot, you know you need to progress, and wallowing in self-pity and hating life is not going to do you any good. It's just really not. So what's the point? Okay, what happened happened. You felt what you felt. Now move on and take another step forward. So the second tip would be, you've been through heck before and you survived. You're literally still alive. If you're listening to this, you may be banged up and feeling some type of way, but you still made it. You're just in the valley again. It won't be the first time, and hopefully it'll be the last. But here you are again. And that sucks to kind of look at it that way, but life is full of ups and downs. And when we're down, sometimes it seems like we're going to stay there, but oftentimes that's not the case. We have a problem, we find a solution, we solve it, and we go back up. And we're up there for a while, and another problem comes along, and then we get down. Life is full of ebbs and flows, and you have survived. So problem solve and be proactive. What do you have to do to pull yourself out? What skills do you have? How deep is your network? What exactly is standing in your way, and what do you need to overcome that? If the tools aren't apparent, what do you need to create? If you needed somewhere to sit, and you only had a hammer, nails, and some wood, it's easy to see that there's no chair for you to sit in. You're frantic, you're looking around complaining that you don't have a chair. You may even look to see who has an extra chair that you can borrow. But what you need to see, the perspective that needs changed, is that you have what it takes to build your own chair. It may not look like a chair yet, but you have everything that you need. Remember the first part about not letting negative emotions take center stage. A lot of times when you let the negative emotions take center stage, you can't solve problems. You cannot effectively utilize the second. You cannot really survive and get through what you need to get through until you've dealt with your mindset. You're not thinking straight in a state of emotion. So the third thing to keep in mind is that your situation can change at any moment. This is huge. Anything can happen at any moment, especially if you're being proactive. That job that you have applied for 2 weeks ago that you chalked up as a loss, you could literally get a call today. That interview that you went on a month ago might be 2 hours away from a life-changing phone call. That social media post that you put out there that no one responded to, your opportunity could be one click away. As long as you're putting yourself and what you do out there consistently, someone is bound to come back to you eventually. It's easy to stay in a funk, and I keep going through this, over and over again, because it's literally, that's within your control. And it's easy to stay there and be negative about what might happen, but the truth is, you really don't know. You have no idea what's around the corner, and your situation can change literally at any moment. But one thing is definitely for sure, being pessimistic and negative is not helping. I don't know how many times where I have been down for hours in a day, and then all of a sudden I get an email or a phone call or a message from someone who needs my help, or says, Nicole, I have a project for you to do. Are you up for it? And it changes my mood immediately, because it's an answer to what I've been stressing about all day. So you just never know what's going to happen. So the fourth thing is to give. Sometimes when we get in a funk, we have a tendency to look inward and to think about what's going on in our lives that's wrong. But sometimes it really helps to just look outward. Find someone around you who is going through a tough time right now, or who could use your help. Go volunteer somewhere. That may sound counterproductive for your situation, but it really does help. Who do you know that may be in a worse situation? How can you help them? Do you have a friend that has a job but no transportation? While you're wallowing in your self-pity, which I hope you're not doing by this point, could you give them a ride? Could you teach someone something that you don't know? Giving without expectation of something in return, it not only makes you feel amazing about yourself as a person, but you help somebody else in the process. It takes your mind off of your own issue, gives you clarity of thought, and it may help you figure out a solution to your problems where you didn't previously have one. Sometimes when we start talking to someone who needs our help, sometimes what we have going on will come out. And they always say 2 heads are better than one. So those are my tips for you to stay in a positive mindset. The biggest one being that anything can change at any time, and that life is full of ebbs and flows and ups and downs, and that where you are right now, there's going to be an end to it. Another tip is to start with gratitude. Everybody has something. If you're alive, you have something to be thankful for. If you have a roof over your head, family that loves you, food to put in your belly, the phone or the computer or the tablet that you have to even watch this video, you have something to be thankful for. So I really hope that helps you guys out. Don't beat yourself up. Nobody can be positive all of the time, but I hope these tips will help you be positive most of the time. And positivity, it's so cliche, everybody says it, but it's so true. Remaining positive about your situation is the key to changing your situation.